What is up,
What's
everybody?
up?
Welcome back to another episode of A Minute with Stony Stone. And today we are talking the Catfish Bash. The very first tournament of the year is wrapped up, and the chips fell where they fell, and we fell.
And did they fell?
We
They
fell.
was falling all over the place.
Yeah, we so a little bit about us is we came in. I'm just looking at notes because there's so much that's gone on. 21st place. We had 32 teams register, which I'll go through some of that details. But 32 teams. We came in 21st, which is not respectable at all.
Wait, say that again slowly.
We
20.
we had 32 teams.
32 teams
registered. Now I'll get into what that means later.
That's a whole other.
That's a whole nother shit show. But
Right.
there's 32 teams that are registered. We came in 21st.
21st.
So, way down the list, and you're not where we wanted to fish.
Hey, but at least you beat Steve Johnson.
I did, because he wasn't there. Now
hey, it doesn't matter if you win by an inch or a mile. Winning's winning.
But his team did, and we can talk about that too. But yeah, we came in 21st, and as you know, I do the Monday back quarterback. Some of you guys saw some of my posts on Facebook today. You know, after a couple of days to digest everything, I honestly think our biggest issue was bait. Not the wrong bait, more of, I would think, the quality of the bait is, we've been going out to Clear Lake quite a bit and trying different baits, and I'd have leftover bait and I would just put it back in the freezer.
You just have too many baits going on. You really need to master the ways of
master the bait.
Procuring your baits.
Well, usually we have 3 teams, and one of them is the master baiter, and we didn't have that this time. It's just me and Anthony. So we had no master.
Yeah,
baiter.
See, you had no one mastering the baits.
Nobody mastering the baits. But I believe it was old bait. And that's a rookie mistake for sure. And I definitely will not be doing that again, and we will just get rid of it. But I'm not here to talk about me and our team. I'm here to talk about the Bash in general. Man, what an amazing event that Jake puts on. And this is for people that don't know, and there's a lot of new players into this. Is Jake's been doing this for about 4 years now, and it started with like 4 boats, and it started, it grew, it kind of shrank, it grew, and I think we got our rhythm now, right? We got a lot of people, and what's really interesting about the people that we have now is there's so many new teams. And then I go through these numbers. A lot of people are going to be shocked just because of the number of new teams. I think if I remember correctly, there's 5 or 6 brand new teams, either their first tournament or their second tournament. And when we get into how the chips fell, I think people are going to be shocked. So we're just going to dive into it. So we look at on tournament 1, you got a brand new team, Whisker Getters, weighing in 66.4 pounds.
How much? 66?
66 pounds.
6.4?
Yeah, so with 3 fish, they had 66.4 pounds. David Mayo.
Just the monsters of the.
Oh, yeah. Well, on an average, you're figuring you're doing at least 20 pounds of fish. So 20, 40, 60. So they had to have some 20 pounders. And I think, that right here, the big fish. They had a 25-pound big fish. So they got 25 pounds big fish.
A 25-pound big fish isn't the big fish of the tournament.
Exactly. That's where I was going to go. We'll get to who that was. But they have a 25-pounder. And I caught a 25-pounder on January 1st. But didn't do it this time. But
wasn't tournament time. Doesn't matter if you catch not on tournaments.
But David Mayo and Warren Fredrickson, these guys are normally like kokanee fishermen. They go after little fish. Little trout, little things like that, and but Warren, these guys are not to be messed with. I mean, they're great fishermen. They're like, hey, let's go try this.
Yeah,
catfish.
They're bringing the heat today.
Let's go try this catfish thing out. What's all the hype about? And he's got a great YouTube page. Look him up. It skips my mind. Maybe Warren's on. He can put it in the comments.
Yeah, he's on there. Hey, if you go ahead and post your own link.
Yeah, put your link on your YouTube page. But I watched a lot of his videos. They're very knowledgeable fishermen, and I'm glad to see him part of it. And like I said, their very first time out, bam, they're coming out winning.
Well, maybe I'll wind up on their boat one of these times.
Possibly. We'll keep moving Eric around.
I'll be the bad luck for their boat now, too.
Maybe that's why Hook 'em Big is so far down the list. But Turtle Creek Hunting Outfitters. Brandon LeBoy.
What did you call it?
Tule Creek.
Tule Creek Fishing. He said it so many different times at weigh-ins.
And I said it right to him. He's like, "It's not turtle." It's not. I'm like, I just make up words in my head. But Tule Creek. Tule Creek. We just need an acronym. 65 pounds, 65.95. I mean, shit, they were right there in first place. But Brandon LeBoy is a guide out there as well. And I got to give a shout out to Brandon. I'm sitting here fishing, right, and I get a phone call. This text or first phone call. I don't even answer it. I'm like, I don't know. I'm fishing, right? All of a sudden, I get a text message. Hey, Brandon sent me your direction. I need to get a guide trip out at Clear Lake, and can you do crappie? And I'm like. I'm looking at him laughing. I'm like, crappie? Sure. I've never caught a crappie in my life. So why is Brandon sending it to me? I'm like, well, shit, I can just do a dash for the money and just say, yeah, we'll take you fishing. But I'm like, no, I'm not a crappie guy.
This is how you catch crappie, by dragging the bottom.
But it would be funny, but at that point, it was in the afternoon. We only caught one fish. And I'm thinking this guy wants to go. What if he says he wants to go catfishing? I'm like, I can't even put two fish in the boat. Fuck that! I'm not taking anybody.
We'll get back to that.
Oh yeah. Third place at 63.25 pounds. Snag and Whiskers, another brand new team. Brian Padilla, Jordan Padilla, Luke Padilla.
Do you know it's Padilla or Padilla?
I'm just trying to.
You're Mexican. You should know this difference.
I'm a whitewashed Mexican.
You say tortilla, don't you? I swear to God.
I do not say tortilla. I say tortilla. See, I can say tortilla. I just gotta watch.
Katie, say tortilla. Say
Look, with shit going on in the U.S. right now, I do not want to talk too much Spanish. I don't want to be too Mexican. I might find myself on a boat
no, sir. I'm Irish. I'm Irish. I'm dark Irish.
But Snag and Whiskers, 63.25. So look at the first top three teams, first, second, and third, 66, 65, 63. Their big fish was 23.15 pounds, another brand new team. We get down into the fourth place. You got Alley Cats, another new team, 59.4 pounds, fourth place. Donald Kellogg, right? And so the list goes, I'm not going to go into all the detail of these guys, but I do want to because a lot of people weren't there and a lot of people are going to watch this post or live. The top spots are in the 50, 60 pounds. You got Whisker Fish, Herb Cornwell, fifth place, 57 pounds. Now, what's interesting? The legend, right? I call him the legend. He's got the lake record right now at Clear Lake. And I'm going to say it wrong, but I think it's 35.4, 36. Somebody will correct me. Somebody will correct me. But
oh, he will. Don't worry.
Oh, yeah. He likes to carry his newspaper around and show people. But Herb, he down the list, right? Being the lake record, and he's in fifth place.
Any given Saturday, man.
Yeah. Kevin Williams is a guide out there. Snag him and bag him. Hooked with Kevin. If you go check out his YouTube page or his Facebook page, his website, Hooked with Kevin. He came in sixth place. And Catfish Posse, John Hayes representing the team with his son. And they were missing Steve Johnson. But the only thing I got to say about that is if you look at December's tournament, Steve came in behind us. And they fished without him, and they're in seventh place. So
you got to beat Steve's team, and his team did better. Nice.
So I don't know what that's. I'm just saying. I'm just looking at numbers.
Just saying.
But they kind of did pretty good. Representing Catfish Posse. So congratulations, John. You guys, definitely put in the work. Real Addiction. If you guys know, Real Addiction has a big, nice boat out on the bay, but their team was out with Matt. Look, I'm gonna say this wrong. You got Eric Palmer and Matt Separate. I butcher names. Sorry.
What are you trying to say, Matt? Yeah.
See?
No.
No.
With Eric Palmer.
and Chadwick Richardson coming in at eighth. Two Birds. So here's another shakeup to me. Two Birds, 53.3 pounds. Chris Wheeler and his wife Viola, 53.3 pounds, ninth place. So Chris went from winning, right? They won December, down to ninth place. Now, in Chris's defense,
He had a long day.
Long day. Fuck, he's had a long like few weeks of having boat issues with his trailer. Then he had a truck issue, lost a axle completely. Truck caught on fire, just all kinds of crazy stuff. Damaged his trailer again, and it's just like they still showed up. So,
real quick, because I know Chris, you're out there on the comments. Did he say your wife's name correctly?
Oh God, come on, Viola.
Leave it in the comments.
I got to get somebody's name, but here he is. I think Two Birds they took first, right? At 53.3 pounds in 9th place, and then right below them, this was another shakeup to me at 51.6 pounds in 10th place, Sippy Cup. To me, that's in
10th place.
In 10th place.
Oh wow!
So
starting off slow, but I mean, what weight are they at though?
They're at 51. Their weights are down.
I mean, that's still a pretty good weight.
Right, but typically in these tournaments, most of the heavy hitters are going to be in the 60 pounds plus, right, to do well, and they didn't even hit 60 pounds. And again, what I'm seeing as I go through this and I stare at this stupid sheet and I look at what's going on, is it was tough fishing for a lot of the regulars, the guys that are out there.
It was rough out there with the storm that had just hit right before it.
Well, it didn't impact freaking whisker getters. Like, they did just fine. So part of me says, yeah, the storm had something to do with it, and part of me is like, I don't know, there was some big fish caught.
Well, I mean, sometimes you just get lucky, or you find the fish that are actually hungry to go bite.
Yeah.
That's I was on Hook 'em Big.
Hook 'em Big.
Hook 'em Big on their boat, and all the fish they caught, they were like just puking up like freshly ate fish, like shad and like other bait and whatnot. Like the fish were already full before you guys even hit the boats.
Yeah,
and there was a lot of burping having to go down because of the additional height in the water.
Yeah, there was it's definitely the fish were pretty full, so they weren't chomping like they've been. The full moon, had to play on that. So it really come down to, did you get the big fish or not? But Team Sippy Cup in 10th place. Team Sift, I keep saying these guys are my rifle, but I haven't beat them yet.
You gotta win first.
Gotta win first, but he's up at 11th. I mean, 10 spots higher than me. And the thing with this is, which is interesting and why I think it was the bait, is that we were fishing next to each other most of the tournament. So we started off right next to each other in the same spot, same area.
Yeah.
And then we weren't catching, so we took off. And I think they must have caught 4 or 5 fish by the time we said, we're not catching anything. So we took off to another spot. And that's where Anthony hooked into our first fish. And then that was the only fish we got there. And we were right next to Warren at that point. So we know where Warren was catching, those big fish. And that's where we typically...
But they weren't biting for you.
No, so that's why I'm saying I think our bait something was wrong with our bait.
Yeah.
And then when we went back...
use that fresh bait. You can't be using those old pickup lines from 20 years ago, Stoney. You got to freshen up your game. Yeah. Oh, but then I was about to say, you don't say the same joke over and over again at your stand-up, but never mind.
I did that
I forgot who I'm talking to.
I did that.
Yeah, I did that once. Don't be rehashing the same jokes over and over again, especially on the same set.
And it's just, that was embarrassing where I just started my whole set a second time. That safety meeting that day was fire, I'm telling you. But Team Sift, is coming up the ranks. Team Sift is moving up. And
They're
we're
staying
just
consistent up there.
And we're kind of got to get our crap together. Catfish Trackers, 50.01 pounds. Ray Sykes, they're a local. Michelle Crabtree, they came in 12th. You got Whiskers, that's Jake's team. He's down at 13th at 49.45. Now, he did better than he did last time, but he's still struggling to get up the ranks here. Reelin' Big, Reggie Burton. So Reggie is interesting, 48.5 pounds, 14th place. Reggie used to fish with Richard, and then he got his own boat. And there's nothing wrong. I'm not saying they had a falling out, nothing like that. They're running 2 boats.
Mm-hmm.
When Anthony and I first started doing this, the intent was we were going to run 2 boats, 2 Old Fart fishing boats, and do team fishing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, time goes on, things change, and now we're just fishing on my boat, and we don't have another Old Farts boat. But who's to say that next time there won't be one? Maybe I can get Team Sift to be an Old Farts fishing boat. We'll see.
Or maybe Old Farts gets taken up by Sift.
That's probably most likely what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Because we went out Sunday morning with Darren, right? So Team Sift, so Anthony and I got up, and it's raining Saturday night. Everything's wet. It's raining. I could hear the rain at night. We get up. I'm up at like 5 o'clock. I'm sitting there, and I hear the
Way
rain.
too early.
And I'm like, yeah, Darren's not gonna want to go fish in the rain.
Mhm.
There's no way. And then I look up. Anthony gets up. We're sitting there drinking coffee, and the rain stopped. And I'm like, yeah, I don't think Darren's gonna go. My phone starts ringing. You guys want to go fishing? I'm like, fuck, everybody else is asleep. Let's go. So he come and picked us up, and we took off on his boat. We had fish within 5 minutes, and within
wait. So you had fish in 5 minutes.
5 minutes,
but then we're still like peeling into the Airbnb like right before checkout. We're like, oh, we gotta go! Come on, get everything on, fast pack up. We're like, whoa! Like, well, you've been catching fish all day. You still had to wait till the last minute to come screaming in.
So our checkout was at 11, and so we only had a couple hours to fish. I'm on the boat, and
but you were catching 5 minutes into this 2 hours.
So the very first fish Darren hooks into, right? He's got his 2 rods on his side. He's reeling the fish. Boom! Another one of his rods go off, and me and Ed are just looking at each other, going, "We're on Darren's boat, and his are the only 2 rods going off." So I'm reeling in a fish on Darren's rod. And then it's just.
You like playing with Darren's rod, don't you?
Sometimes. It's a standard issue, though. It's a standard issue.
You love that standard issue.
But yeah, it was. We got the fish on Sunday. So next up was Hook 'em Big in 15th place with 47.75 pounds. That's Daniel Fountain, Mike Begay, and his wife. I'm gonna mess it up. Nani. Nannies? Yeah, I just want to mess it up.
The guy.
That's why I call my wife Honey, so I don't mess her name up.
Yeah, you can't get caught for cheating if you just use the same pet name.
Or I just say yes, dear a lot. That's usually what it is.
Yeah, always say honey or yes, dear. Yes. Like, never use their real name.
No.
But you got to make sure you remember what the real name is in case they try to, like, what's my actual name? Then you actually know what it is.
But Hook 'em Big with Daniel Fountain. So Daniel makes his own rods, the Hook 'em Big rods, and he has Hook 'em Big rod rack or Hook 'em rack.
Hook 'em Big.
Hook 'em Big. And so he sponsors us as well. We run his rods, and we used to run his racks, and nothing wrong with his racks. I just needed something different.
You just like his rod more than his rack.
I do like his rod. Eric needs to get laid.
I got laid last night.
Holy shit. TMI.
Let's fucking finish this thing up so I can go do that again too.
Okay. All right. Hogfathers did really well. I don't know. I think it was in the December tournament. They were way at the top. I forgot what place they took, but they came down to 16th spot. Bloody Knuckles Crew, 17th at 46.15 pounds. With Darren Akins and Karen Sampson and Joy Rob. I'm just going to stop reading names. Oh, right.
Just stick with the team names.
Yeah, I can. And
now you can't say the team name.
No, I know, right? Bass Lane Bangers at 43.45, 18 pounds. They're relatively new. They've done a few of they got into this.
I do love all the team names.
I know, right? Well, hold on.
Bass Lane Bangers, all the variations of whiskers.
Oh, yeah. So Bass Lane Bangers, these guys came into the scene last year. Great guys. They were bass fishermen that got into catfishing, and they're doing really well. And I love when new teams come in like these guys, and they step up to the plate and they help and they donate. And what I mean is we have a scale that we've been using, and we needed a display. And those things aren't cheap, and they stepped up, and say, hey, we'll go buy the display for the tournament. So Bass Line Bangers, thank you very much for your support. And now we just got to get it to sync up with the scale.
Now we just need to figure out how it works.
Exactly.
We'll be doing a lot better, but we still got the actual device, so that'll get up and running here in no time.
So thanks for your help with that. Down at 19th, Pandemic Fishing. These guys are all over the place. Sometimes they're up, sometimes they're down. Richard Mutri, I saw his little live video. So here's the thing: everybody talks about.
He was on the podcast last episode.
He was talking about.
Maybe he picked up some of our bad luck.
No. So here's the thing: I listened to all the fishermen talk, and do they talk? So
what? I've never heard. They're usually the most quiet of people.
Oh yeah, no. So here you got with Richard, and I saw his live video showing all his electronics. He's got downscan. He has all this cool shit, and I'm like, and you're in 19th spot. So either he doesn't know how to use the equipment, or it doesn't make that big of a difference, and everybody's just freaking out about it. Like, Sippy Cup has live scope and what have you, and Chris has live scope, and yeah, they had a tournament where they were way at the top, and now you look at where they are. So I'm not convinced that that makes a big difference. Is yes, it may help you, and yes, it will, show you that there's a fish, but if you got the wrong bait or something like us, it isn't going to matter. But
there's so many factors that
there's so many factors.
Sometimes you hit it, sometimes you don't. Yeah. There are more luckier spots than others, and you just have to make sure you find the ones that are working for you.
20th spot, Bar S. These guys are brand new. Ben Harper, Roy, Blair, John. I'm just, like I said I wasn't going to say names. But Ben. So Ben's another one, right? Ben is right like the week before the tournament, he fell through his ceiling. He's doing something in the attic, fell through the ceiling, got like, I don't know how many, 6, 7, 20 staples in his head.
Oh, Jesus.
And he shows up, big old gash in his head still, with like 3 or 4 staples still in it.
I mean, you don't need brains to fish, Tony.
Well, no, but what I'm saying, these guys show up, right? It's just like, hey, I'm not going to show up. I got hurt. He's like, nope, I'm going, right?
Gotta go to that bash, man. Gotta go to the bash.
21st place, again, Old Farts Fishing. We already talked about that. Kai Powell, Kai Ramsey, and Ron Ladd, 22nd place. So here's what's interesting on these two, between us and Kai Powell. We are fishing head-to-head in Clash of the Titans that Chris Wheeler's putting on. And it's coming up here in a few months that we have to go head-to-head. And that team is hot. They're usually in the 60-pound range. I was shocked to see that they came in, about 2 pounds, about 1.5 pounds behind us. And
I mean, yeah, that's pretty surprising right there.
Well, and the biggest thing is that our biggest fish of the day that Anthony pulled in was 22.85 pounds, and we only had 2 fish. And my understanding when we were looking at it, I think there was 5 teams that only got 2 fish, and we were one of them. But our big fish was 22.85 pounds. Ron Ladd, they came in with 3 fish, and they were still 1.5 pounds lighter than us.
Yeah.
And the one thing is that on our when I caught our second fish, it was the burn for us was that Anthony went for the net, right? As I'm getting the fish is getting closer, Anthony gets the net.
Right.
His rod starts going off, and I'm like, Anthony drops the net, and he missed it. It didn't hook.
No.
I must have barely, but
the
third fish got away, and it was. And normally these fish, when they hit, they're not coming unbuttoned. They stick, but when they're barely hooked, like that one probably was, it was like, God damn! It was like we had like 10 minutes left. And I'm like, I'm like, at that point you just feel defeated. I'm like, we're just gonna go in. Fuck it.
Yeah,
we're done.
Nothing we can do here now. It's just time to go in.
So we get into BLB Elite, 23rd place, but they won Big Fish of the Day at 27.6 pounds.
Woo!
That's a big fish.
Say that again.
27.6 pounds.
27.6 pounds. That is a lot of catfish.
One catfish. So they won Big Fish. Congratulations. And they're a relatively new team as well. Happy Hookers.
But they were still down here at 23.
They were at 23.
They only had 35 total pounds. Yeah. They got that big one, though.
Happy Hookers is another, fairly new team. They put together a team this last year, and at 35.95 pounds.
The Young Bucks.
The Young Bucks, 24th place. They struggled a little bit as well, but they're another team to watch. They're going to be coming up the ranks. Rusty Hook. So here you go, Rusty Hook. He's got a badass little boat he's working on. He's calling it the Catfish Cadillac. It's an old school, looks like a 1960s, probably fiberglass boat.
Nice.
Just really cool looking. I know he's working on it. He was hoping to have it ready. Wasn't ready, so he fished his pontoon, which here he is. Again, another guy had a plan. The plan didn't work out. He got it on his other boat he has. He's lucky to have 2 boats, and he fished with his wife, and we went by them a few times, and they were just anchored up. They were trying to do the drift thing and just let the wind push them, and but some of the techniques that they know how to use they couldn't do, and it hurt them a little bit in 25th place at 33.55 pounds. This one here, Team Modoc, 26 pounds. I think these are the guys that came from Madeira. That's the other thing I'm starting to see with these tournaments is that we have people coming from farther and farther away. You got Rick and Judith coming down from SoCal. You got these guys coming from, where did I just say they came from?
Madeira.
Madeira.
Hook 'em Big is out of Manteca as well too.
Well, but like Rick and Judith is the farthest away. I think we should have like an award for like the farthest person. We give them like a gas card or some shit as a gift. Something to think about, Jake.
Some kind of bonus.
Some kind of bonuses. Who drove the longest? Chris Wheeler's not too close either. I know he's got to travel a distance. Then we get down to Drag Masters at 27th. Let's see, 27th place. So here, 27th place and 28th place were tied with 0 pounds. 2 teams got skunked. And
that's just rough. Like going all day.
It is rough.
Being able to catch
it's frustrating.
anything.
And I did talk to Derek. Derek's fetching the bite, 28th place. I did talk to him a little bit, and he's coming back. And that's the cool thing is they're not discouraged. There's like it happens, right?
Yeah.
Some people never get skunked. I
Any
can't
given
say.
Saturday.
I took my sister out to Clear Lake. I think it was last year one time, and I'm like, oh yeah, I catch all these fish and everything. That day was the first day I ever got skunked.
Shit.
I didn't catch shit. So she's probably thinking, this guy's full of shit. He can't fish.
Per usual, Stoney's full of shit.
Then we get to the bottom of the list. 29, 30, 31, and 32. That
no particular order.
No particular order. AM Tightliners, brand new team. Fished with Steve Johnson their first tournament. Went and spent a lot of money. Got a boat going. Got all this stuff. But they failed at one thing. Is making sure everything was
working.
Shipshape,
The boat was working.
They didn't even show up. So I put them in their standings as DNS. Did not start.
Yeah.
They didn't even show up because they had problems, right? And it sucks when you have mechanical problems, and so you pay the price. And I should have taken bets. I was telling people we need to take bets. Guess who with Keith Foy? Again, second tournament, no show.
Guess who didn't show up? Guess who didn't show up?
Guess who didn't show up? Now, last time it was like, oh, whatever the reason was, but we know the real reason. This time, I had a boat issue. I'm kind of thinking maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. But regardless of the reason, you registered, you didn't show up. And there's going to be more to talk in a second about this team and what's going on there. James Newman had called, said he was going to show up. We had him as a registered team, and I don't know what happened with them. And then these Noble Crew, it's a new team. I don't know who he is. Andrew guy didn't show up. So we had a few no-shows. So with that being said, there's a few things I want to kind of go over with changes we're making for the next tournament.
Well, one of the changes that I want to go back over. So we went over the top 3.
Yeah.
We went over big fish of the tournament. But another prize that was out this year is, what do they call it? A blind bogey?
The blind bogey from Team Sippy Cup stepped up.
Yeah, where it was a secret poundage of fish, and closest one to pulling a fish to that, or total weight to that secret number gets the 250 pull.
Right, and Pandemic ended up winning that as well. Because I think the bogey was like 42.5, 42.3 pounds was the blind bogey. And Pandemic won that. And it was $250. And this goes back to, like I was talking about, the Bass Lane Bangers giving back to the tournaments, paying for a display. You have
Sippy Cup
is always doing something.
Yeah.
If I look back through the years, they've made these really cool belt buckles. Like almost like what you get in boxing. Those big old nice. They paid for those. That was a really cool thing. One year they tagged a bunch of fish. They went out and pre-fish tagged them. It's like if you caught this fish, you get a certain amount of money.
I'm sure there's still some of those tags out there too. Is that price still open?
It could be. I don't know, but what I'm saying is that they get these new guys or people that get into it and they give back. They're always hey, let's go do this. They're just making the event better. In fact, I think when we get into the April 15th, I believe we're going to implement that as an option. So when people register for a tournament, they're paying their tournament fee. They're paying, do they want to be part of the big fish? And it was funny is a lot of people would you get teams that would do the big fish, and then it's a side bot. It's a side bet.
Side bet, yeah.
So it's another $50, and then the winner for the biggest fish gets that pot of money that comes in. So now we're thinking is let's implement this blind bogey as another side bet. Right. So it's a complete wild card. So we're going to put that out there when you see the registration come out. So you're going to have a regular entry fee. You're going to have a big fish, and then this blind bogey. You can do all these little kind of side bets, and there'll be a blind number pulled, and we'll see what's going on.
Yeah.
So I think that one camera shut off again. We need some money, Eric. We need some
Please
funding.
Donate to our OnlyFans.
To our OnlyFans.
You set that OnlyFans up, right?
Yeah, right. No one watched. I did.
Come on, set it up.
I set up the OnlyFans, and I didn't have any fans. So just it was a really great tournament. Before I get into April 5th, that's the next tournament. We call it the Fool's Bash, but April 5th. Before I get into details of that, I do want to bring up one thing is, we had a lot of positive things we talked about with the bash. I don't want to put a downer on the whole thing, but we do have our very first person banned from the bash.
Oh.
Yeah. So before we get into that, Jake is very, very serious about, the sportsmanship. And it goes beyond just what happens on the water. It happens at the venue, right? So in this case, the restaurant that we're doing it. It's how you conduct yourself around other people's. We want this to be a family thing. We want this to be something people are excited, positive. If there's any negativity whatsoever, as far as how you act, how you any of that stuff that goes on.
Yeah, it's family friendly, community based. Like this is a nice, clean, tournament and event.
So
we're not trying to make this trashy.
So there's a reason why the one person, now this is just me talking, it's a podcast and it has nothing to do with the bash, is what I'm going to say here, is you can't continue to show up drunk and act up and run your mouth and disorderly and think you're going to continue to be in the tournament. And Jake basically said, you're done. There's a point where, Jake is a tournament director. Right. Whether you like him, you don't like him, whatever, you're in his tournament. It's time for you to step up. Right, you got to show some level of respect, and when you disrespect the tournament director, don't think that you're going to be able to fish in these things.
Yeah, you can't be showing up like a mess and then upset that people don't want to deal with the mess.
Right, and so
trying to run a nice, clean, fun show.
And Keith being banned was nothing personal; it was completely for the integrity of the tournament, meaning. He had lots of complaints, several complaints, not only from the bar owners, from other participants, from other families, and it's like at that point he's going to put a stop. So the message is, don't be a Keith.
Yeah,
I mean like I said, don't be Dave. No, but
he's 2 tournaments in where there was a lot of drama surrounding him,
and that's just
because like last December he was a no-show, and even. Him not showing messed up his own friendship with his team partner.
That's why he was on my boat last time.
And now this time he's coming in still being like showing up drunk, being disorderly, being unruly, and you need to be sure to keep yourself in check.
Yeah, so he's the first casualty. He will definitely be part of the Catfish Wars when we get into what's going on with the Catfish Wars, but that's the storyline. And like I said at the beginning when I started Catfish Wars, there's going to be some shit go down through the season.
There's definitely stories going on in this little catfishing community for sure.
And this is the first casualty of that. and hopefully there won't be any more. We want some Catfish Wars. We wanted to make it fun and entertaining, but you're dealing with catfishermen. There's going to be some bullshit come down. So, so my message is just don't be that guy, right? We don't want, Jake and I talk frequently. We don't want to ban people, but we will ban people. He will ban people if we have continuing things like this. So take it as a message. Do not.
We're
be that
adults,
guy. Right?
We're not children. We're going to act like adults and not be stupid.
Well, and the thing that I was hearing from some other people in conversations is that, well, why are you doing this at a bar? You're just asking for trouble. Like, to your point, we're adults. Just because there's a bar there doesn't mean that you just go get drunk and shit faced and act
it's
a
a restaurant. It's not just a like dive bar, and also what other kind of places are on any kind of body of water. Right. It is a restaurant. It's not a bar. They have a bar, but it's a family restaurant, and we're all adults. And if you just want to get rowdy and be at like a dive bar, go find a dive bar to go hang out at, not a family style restaurant.
So the clientele that we're really going after in these tournaments is the people that want to contribute and can play nicely together. Yeah. And the riffraff and the people that are going to act a fool, we're going to ask you kindly to not come back. And simple as that. So call it what you want. You say he's banned, he's not invited, whatever it is, he's done. He's not going to be part of the bash. There's other things out there that you can be part of, but I guarantee you continue to act a fool, whether it's Jake's tournament or Richard's tournament or the Goodfellas tournament. You know, I'm sure they will follow suit. You know, and the thing for Jake is I say, you know what, we're blazing some new trails. We're doing things the way we want to do it, and there's no recipe of this. The only recipe we want is the success recipe. We want this to grow. We want people to come. Yeah. And you know, we've taken some heat from some other people about, well, you're dominating the lake, you're taking over. No, we're not. We're giving people.
Oh, you guys are dominating the lake.
No. It's kind of one of those things that, you know, I'm a business guy, right? Mm-hmm. So you look at an intersection in any given town, and why is there a gas station on every corner?
Because everyone needs gas.
No, but they're right next to each other in the same like location.
Because that's where all the traffic is going to get gas.
But they're right across the street because that's competitiveness. That's the market. Home Depot, Lowe's, they do the same thing. You know, Walmart, they do the same thing. You know, we're doing the same thing. You have choices. You can do the bash, you can do the derby, you can do the rodeo, or you can do Jake, or you can do all of them if you have the means and ability. But you have choices, and what Jake and I are doing are blazing some new ways to do things, and hopefully, you know, we set kind of a standard, right? And then people will follow that standard. Don't want to bash on the Kings of Clear Lake, but there is a reason why it changed hands.
Well, and now it's changed hands to our buddy Richard, and hopefully he can really turn that around to make that another quality product too.
And he will.
Like, these tournaments are like a product. And regarding, like you said, it's competition. We're providing a quality product. People are going to want to do the quality product. Or if you just want to be one of these naysayers or just riffraff and like causing issues and whatnot, that takes away of the quality of the products, and we don't need that energy. But also don't be like jealous that we're trying to provide a quality product. It's like, oh, well, they're doing this. Yeah, we're trying to put up a bar and have, you know, do something nice and good on our ends, and you can participate in it or not. So no one's forcing you to do it. And how many permits did bass fishing have at Clear Lake?
So if I look, well, it's not even. So if you look at breaking down the different permits, so everybody's got to get a permit if they're going to legitimately do a tournament. There was 96 bass tournaments, and there was only like five or six catfish tournaments for all year. Well, the Bash is doing 6 tournaments, but 2 of those are on a different lake. So we only have 4 of the tournaments. In fact, I think there was 5.
How are we taking over the lake when we're on multiple lakes?
There's 5 catfish tournaments that were registered when I did, you know, I went and looked. 4 of them are Jake's, and 1 was the Derby. The Derby's been there 40-something years, so they're all, I mean, it's been there. But the other 2, there was no permit at the time for the Kings of Clear Lake, or, you know, there may have been, and then it got canceled. But anyway, that didn't happen. The Goodfellas didn't have a permit pulled for theirs, so, you know, they are reducing permits. But there's only 5 tournaments now. When we get to have 96 catfish tournaments, then you can say something about it.
Then you can start talking shit about, you guys are taking over the lake.
So Jake's going to run his program, and what's going to happen is I feel we're going to do such a good job. One is we're potentially going to outgrow the venue because it can only fit so many people, so we may have to find another venue. I know
another solution for that.
Jake and I are trying to not do all the tournaments at Clear Lake. We want to move them to other lakes, but it's a logistical challenge, right? And what people don't seem to understand is when you run these tournaments, it costs money. It costs resources.
Well, it's manpower, too. You need people to do this or do certain tasks. And if you don't have the volunteers to do it, it doesn't get done.
Right, and this goes back to when I did my tournament at Lake Berryessa a couple of years ago, and I had all the people that say, "Oh yeah, I'm going to volunteer, I'm going to volunteer, I'm volunteer." The day of, I had like 3 people.
Yeah,
because people
that's
bailed.
hard.
And me, I just get into my clothes like, fuck it, I'm going to do it myself. Instead of reaching for help or reaching out to somebody else, I'm just like, screw it. But it made it to me to where I'm never going to do another tournament like that, ever. I will help Jake. I will help other teams that want help. I do have a certain skill set I can bring to it. I don't want to be the main guy.
You do have a certain set of skills that are very, very beneficial to event coordinators. I'll definitely give you that credit.
I may not be able
and
to
I don't give you a lot of credit, but I'll give you that credit. Like, there is a reason you earn that 20%. Like, I pay you 20% for very good reasons. And that's the same energy you're providing to the tournaments. And you're very good at that 20%.
So anyway, we are definitely setting a trail of setting a bar pretty high of what we want to do. And so watch for that. And I think Jake said the blind bogey on this thing is going to be $25 when we do this. So I had it at a higher number. But I will change that. And registration is going to open up here for April 15th.
April 5th.
April 5th.
Not the 15th. Look, 5th.
April 5th.
Jake's already put it up on the comments, but
sweet. April 5th.
April 5th.
So we are now, I will open up registration for that. There are going to be some changes with the registration. We are really, really wanting people to pre-register, and there's very many reasons for that. Is a few of these teams that said they were going to be there and, oh, we're going to pay you the day of, and then they don't. It's just, we're not doing that. So if you're gonna pay to play type of thing.
Yeah.
So early registration is going to open up this week. It's going to be $150 just like it has been. Your big fish entry is going to be $50, and we're going to add in this $25 blind bogey if you want to do that. So you'll have all the options on there. You'll get an invoice from my company, Blue Dream Productions. You pay your entry fee, you're good to go. So one thing's going to happen is if you don't register, you pre-register, and you want to sign up the day of, your registration fee of $150 goes to $200.
That makes sense. That makes
basically
sense. That's how like a lot of places do it. Like day of is always more expensive than pre-registering.
So looking at this, it's probably going to be registration's $200 to enter. If you pre-register, it's only $150. That's
so pre-register, folks.
Pre-register. And I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of slack from people on that, but you know what? It is what it is. That's what we're doing. And again, you have choices. You can either do the bash
all the choices.
or go somewhere else.
That's freedom right there, baby. That's American freedom. You got choices and freedoms. Figure your shit out.
What else? So,
sup, Sonny? Showing up late to the party as always.
Hey, all right. At least he doesn't show up late to fish.
Yeah.
But the registration is going to open up. More details will come. If you haven't followed the Catfish Bash on Facebook, please do. The other thing administratively that I'm going to start doing is people that pre-register, I have your email address. So I'm going to start a database of being able to contact people via email with information, flyers, upcoming events, things like that. Not spam. I'm not going to blow up your email. But this is
information you actually want.
Yes. Because there's a lot of people that aren't on Facebook. And we've grown this thing on Facebook. But, as some of these older guys or people from outside that found us on YouTube. So I've heard, that people looked at Pandemic's YouTube and found out about the bash. They've seen my YouTube, found out about the bash. And so they're getting to us through other means other than Facebook. And I don't want to just do a whole media blast on all the different things, right? And all the TikToks and Instagrams. And I'm just going to kind of go back to truly an old school. So I'm going to just start emailing. So
I love how old school is now email of all things.
I'm not gonna go.
You're not gonna go full snail mail.
No, I'm not gonna be licking stamps or we're not gonna go that far. But I will create a database so we can keep people informed through email. The other thing that I've learned is we do have people's phone numbers. Is text messaging is huge these days on sending out information.
Yeah.
So I'm going to start collecting some of that from the team captains, and if you're registered as a team captain, we have your phone number. We'll put you on that. But yeah, I'm trying to build a little bit of a database to keep things informed and what's going on. But yeah, April 5th, Bash, Lake Mendocino. I know there's a lot of questions on places to stay and rooms and stuff like that. I think Jake was working on that. And
someone also brought up, does anyone actually fish Lake Mendocino, and
yes.
what can you?
So
what's the different challenges of Mendocino versus Clear Lake?
So the only thing
or should we be giving away Old Fart's secrets?
Well, I don't have any secrets. I've never fished that lake. I do know a few things about the lake, but it is going to be a challenge.
You say you know a few things about a lot of things that you end up not knowing about.
I didn't say I was good at it. I just I'm knowledgeable about stuff. Doesn't mean I can execute it. But anyway, Lake Mendocino. I think it'll be challenging for a lot of people. One thing, the fish won't be as big. Yep. And that's all I'm going to say. They won't be as big. How you fish for them, where you fish for them, everybody's got to figure that out. Whether you're going to anchor, or whether you're going to drag, whether you're going to suspend, whatever it is you're going to do.
So all the husband-wife teams, the wives are going to be very prepared for the disappointment of the sizes, right?
Probably. But I don't believe you're going to have as big a fish there. And it's going to be a challenge, and that's one reason why we wanted to take the tournament off the lake, is to try some other waters. And as we're going to test this out, right? One prediction I have is we have 32 teams. We always want to see that number grow. My feeling is that number is going to drop just because of it's a new lake. People are don't know, but we're going to see. We're going to see. I'm hoping the numbers stay up. Our goal is to continue to grow and grow and grow. But because we are running a series, it's going to even flow. There's going to be certain tournaments that are going to have less. Like Warren, I know they want to hit every tournament, but these guys are fishing other tournaments, so they got to pick and choose what they want. And
you don't know what showed. Life is a very keen way of just showing up and fucking up your plans too. Like 6 series through a whole year is hard to hit every one. Like you have to make some dedication choices to make sure you're planning your life around making these tournaments.
Yeah. Before I get too far along on the other things coming up is I do want to give a big shout out to some of the people that did volunteer for the bash.
Oh, yep.
And that was Rebecca, Kevin's wife, is a huge asset. She's always there to help out, and I want to give a shout out to Rebecca for helping out. Aaron helped out with the live well checks, did it by himself. And got that all done. And then I can't forget Jake's wife who gets all of the tallies, all the scores, everything put in the computer. And if you guys noticed, we had the results out that night. Mm-hmm. Right? It wasn't to wait 3 weeks, 2 days, not even the next day. We got results out that night. And that's what a lot of people want to see, is those results. So she was great at making that happen. And so some of those things that we're going to continue to grow.
That's just back admin making the dream work.
So along those lines is, as this is growing, we need more volunteers. And I don't just need people that are going to say, yes, I can do it. We need qualified people that are going to show up or going to do the job.
People who take initiative, not
yes.
people who are going to say, oh, there's a problem here. Why isn't this happening? People are going to be like, this isn't happening. I'm going to do it.
Right. So along those lines, Richard Mutri with Pandemic, right? Mm-hmm. He's our headline sponsor. He puts a lot of money into making a lot of this stuff happen.
Yeah, he's one of those. He's like, here's a deficiency. Here's how I can fix it, and I'm going to fix it.
Right. And again, it's the issue with the lie detector, right? So we had a lie detector. We're working through that. It's the first time we did a lie detector.
Yeah.
We do have a few things we want to think about how that works, and because it is a pretty lengthy process, and people want to go home. They want to, So first, Jake was like, "We're going to get a lie detector, and people have to go to a location, get it done. It'll be paid through the tournament, but they have to go." Everybody bitched about having it off location. So okay, fine, we'll pull it on location.
Right.
Well, the polygraph test is about a 30-minute deal.
Right.
Normally, it's like an hour or longer, but they shortened it up for the catfishing thing. You got 4 tests you're doing. People are sitting around for a couple hours waiting.
Yeah.
They don't, like that last guy that's getting tested is, screw this. I don't want to be here for 4 hours. I want to go home. Right.
You've already been on the lake for so long.
Right. Yeah. So there's some things we got to work out to figure out what makes the most sense. It's unfortunate that we have to put out a lie detector type thing. We're already doing the thing with no pre-fishing. And again, that was another thing is people that are not involved in the planning of the tournament will take things, interpret them, and then spread it like it's gospel or they know what they're talking about. The whole pre-fishing thing. It was
how the fuck how we have misinformation?
Well, the pre-fishing,
all these fake news, misinformation, fucking reporters out here.
So we are going to make that more clear. Even my impression was no pre-fishing meant no catfishing for the tournament. Meaning, if you came, brought your family, whatever, you wanted to go crappie fishing or bass fishing, bluegill fishing, whatever you're going to go do, have fun with your family because this is a family thing. But it got blown out of proportion. People were upset about no pre-fishing mean no fishing at all. So we are going to make it very clear, and I believe it's going to be no pre-fishing, no fish, no line in the water, 24 hours for any kind of fish. And the reason we have to do this is because anytime there's money involved, you are going to get those people who want to cheat.
Yeah.
And we're trying to deter that. Now, if we could all say...
money's definitely throws in an extra mix in it all.
Right. We got weights and fish. No. So, it's just unfortunate. It's part of the ugly part of the thing that we got to do is to protect people's money when they're putting in some big money. They want to feel like, yes, we're running it. And that's what we're striving for, is that people feel really good about what they're doing and that people aren't just cheating. Thank you for our volunteers. Now, along that, I do need, or Jake needs, we need, one element we're missing from the tournaments, I think, is raffles. Raffles are great. They help the tournament financially. People get a lot of cool prizes. A lot of people donate trips and things along those lines and product. And I think we need to bring that back. And the challenge is we need someone to man that, woman that, person that, whatever your pronoun is. We need someone to take care of that and say, hey, I want to be the person that will handle the raffles. And that doesn't mean that you have to do it all. It means I want to have one neck to grab for handling the raffles. And that means that if you get some people underneath you that are going to do certain things, like handle the merchandise, get the things that are going to be raffled off, reach out to companies, do that stuff. We need somebody that's going to do that legwork.
And we already have enough brands and whatnot that are really friendly to the cause who would be willing to do a raffle. And it doesn't have to be like a big raffle, but
we just need someone to put the work in.
Something, yeah.
So if you're interested in that, hit Jake up, reach out to me. But we want someone who says, hey, I want to be the raffle coordinator, which means they're going to get all the things that they're going to be raffled. They're going to make sure the raffle's being done. And that's one element I think we need to try to bring back. And I know why Jake doesn't want to do it, because it's a pain in the ass.
I mean, it's work. It's labor work, and it does take up a lot of time.
And Jake's got a lot that goes on. I have a lot that goes on, building up to it. And, the day for me is I want to fish. And that's why I'll never put another tournament.
You always love that build up, Stoney.
Because I don't want to do, the whole organizing day of. The day of, I want to fish. So that's why I do the role that I do. And hopefully I do it well and it works. But we are trying to build a team. So if you want to get involved and be part of it, let us know. And we'll get you involved one way or the other. And Jake and I are working through how we can compensate people for that, meaning either reduced entry fee, some kind of monetary thing, something. So we want you to volunteer your time, but we want to appreciate you as well. So we're going to work that out. So once we get some names in the hat, we figure that out. There could be something that we give you a reduced fee or do something, because there is value there, and we appreciate stepping up and doing that. So I'm just kind of looking through the notes here of what I covered, what I didn't cover, and it looks like I think you're monitoring comments on there. Anything that we want to bring up and address?
I don't know if there's anything to. They are kind of like speaking amongst themselves.
Yeah, and that's one thing that podcast related, right? Is I want to figure out and Eric and I will figure this out, is a way to say via Zoom. Is I can put out the number and I can bring people in to actually be live on the podcast. And, because we stream this on Facebook, we're limited to that. So I need to make some decisions to say, do I continue to go live on Facebook, or do I make this a podcast that's not live and I do it via Zoom and everybody just calls into Zoom and we do it there, and then I edit it and put it out, onto YouTube or whatever, and then post it to Facebook post-production. But the benefit is, people that are interested can interact and be part of the show because we have you live instead of typing, on the screen. It's just not published live. You're interacting live as we film it, and then we will get it out a day or two later out to everybody else that wasn't there. So if you have a opinion on that, definitely message me. Let me know what you think.
Yeah, Warren said YouTube.
YouTube. And that's another thing. We can go live on YouTube. I have to go look at my standings and see.
One of these days we'll upgrade our web delivery system.
Yeah. So
every time, new upgrade.
Yeah. So I know I have enough followers now on YouTube to do some things. I just don't know how to have enough hours watched to monetize. And maybe Warren, I can talk to you offline about that. But, streaming live on YouTube might be, I know people do TikTok, and it just gets to a point to where all the live stuff is, I don't know if there's a huge benefit of doing it live as opposed to doing it.
They love us out there. They love us.
No, but
they just want to hear us talk, and then
they can do that, and they call in live. I give you a number, you call in.
I don't know if I want to actually hear all these fuckers live.
Well, we have control.
Most of them mute most of the time.
Right. But
Becca said she'd help with raffle.
Well,
there we go.
Again,
see, volunteers, teamwork makes the dream work.
But here's the thing: is and this is what I'm concerned with. Is great. I appreciate people doing that, but I want people like Becca to say yes. But then I want to have a conversation with them, or Jake to have a conversation and say these are the expectations and set those, because the raffle thing is a big thing, because it's a lot of coordination of vendors and people, and reaching out to people, and it's just a lot. And then the day of. That's the easy part. There's handling all that stuff, making sure the table's set up, gathering the money, and there's a lot. So it's going to be more than one person. There's going to be one person responsible, and they may pull in, 2 or 3 people to help them.
I believe in Becca.
I believe in Becca too. She is amazing. Where else?
Here, let's just put up the schedule. So, as we've been talking about, April 5th, Lake Mendocino, Fool's Bash. Just 5 days after April Fool's Day. Then June 28th, Summer Bash. We have Hot August Nights, August 2nd. In October, it's Halloween Bash. I feel there should be a costume theme on that one, or like a costume like side bet or something. I might even put in some money for that one.
Yeah.
And then December 6th, the championship again.
So
an invitation. What does it mean by invitation?
So perfect. I'm glad you brought that up. So here's how the championship works. So this tournament was setting the baseline for that tournament. So it's the top 10 teams with the most weight. So starting as of right now, because we just finished the first bash, the top 10 teams that we mentioned qualify for the championship.
So you have to be in the top 10 sometime during the year?
No, so what happens is, say the whisker getters are at 66.4 pounds, and then you go down, right? Yeah. So now the next tournament...
So there's only going to be 10 teams.
And then there's going to be... There's a couple wild card spots. I don't remember the quantity. I think there was maybe 5 wild cards, so it's like 15 teams. But... it's basically all the weights that you had on the first tournament, then the weights of your second tournament, the weights of you add up all the weights.
Right.
So the total weight, whoever has the most weight going into December is the number 1 seed. And then it just goes down by total weight, all the way down to 10. And then the rest of the spots are wild card spots, and I believe it was 5, but don't quote me on that. But there are some wild card spots that will fill.
Championship is going to be like a true kind of championship.
Right. So if we were making this championship today, Old Farts Fishing would not make it because we were at 21 spot.
I currently have no ambition that you are going to make it which is good for me, actually. I don't want you to be in the championship, because then that means I have a second film crew person to help me out on like the filming crew side.
That's funny.
Especially since it's a championship. Yeah. I feel like
I'm better started filming than fishing.
Hey, unless you get good and prove me wrong.
I know. That's a challenge. We're gonna get good.
Prove me wrong, Stoney.
So, but we will start. No point in posting any of that at this point. But once we get the second tournament, then we'll start putting where the standings are for
the whole series.
But I can always get the wild card, so we don't know. So even though you didn't make it,
no, you're not.
You're gonna.
I'm telling you, right? I'm gonna make sure, Jake. He's not fishing December, all right?
Unless I qualify.
No. He is not fishing December. He is filming December. Maybe Anthony is allowed, but not.
There you go. Anthony can take my boat.
Somebody, or put Anthony on someone else's boat. That's
no,
like
Anthony can take my
person,
boat. Anthony can take the boat. I'll just film. It's still Team Old Farts, so Anthony will bring in still 2 players. But yeah, there we are. We're at the top of the hour. A lot going on in the catfish world, and send me your feedback. I really want feedback and your thoughts on
I was
how
about
we
to say we
this.
didn't get to talk about any of our other normal subjects,
or what the.
But one of them is driving with Stony Stone. And today, on my way to one of our jobs, I saw this pretty big fish. I don't know what kind of fish it was, maybe like a sturgeon or something, but like it was just on the side of the road, on the side of 99. And I'm like, how the fuck did that fish even get there? And B, apparently I'm better at finding fish in Stony this last week.
It has fallen in your lap. Yes.
Nailed it.
So let me know what your thoughts are on how we should structure this, whether it should be Zoom, live on YouTube, what have you. I'm almost in favor, personally, of Zoom, and then I can edit, produce to whatever, and get.
You
that
can edit
out.
this stuff too, and you're not doing it. We're recording it. You can still edit it.
I still can.
You could.
But unless people like to call in live in this format, we'll just leave it alone.
We're doing it live because of you in the first place.
That's exactly.
I wanted to always do record and then post.
As we digress, we will figure it out. Thanks for watching A Minute with Stony Stone, and yeah,
fade to black. Wait, fade to black. No, we're wearing black. Bye.